Hey everyone, geez, welcome back. It seems like Groundhog Day around here the last couple of days with Bitcoin going down and down and down and down. So Bitcoin was down again today. Miners were a little bit more mixed today, which was kind of good. Have we bottomed out on Bitcoin? I think if we haven't bottomed out, we'll talk about it, but I think we're getting close to it. We'll look at some charts as well on that. So there's a lot to go over. We'll look at the miners how they did today in Bitcoin. We'll also talk about Mara's quarterly results, CORZ Scientific's quarterly results as well. And then I'll give you guys some good news as well that we do have here, a little bit of it at least. We'll talk about that and we'll get into the Q&A side of things, okay? So as always, you guys know the drill. Not financial advice, for only do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what happened here today with Bitcoin. Where is it going? Did we bottom out? Did we not bottom out? Where are we at here? So Bitcoin is down even more today than it was yesterday. It was down 5.05%. At one point, I think it was down like 6%, 6.5%, something like that, towards the middle of the day here. But popped back up a little bit here, and we've had it straight. I mean, this week is pretty horrendous. Definitely a pretty big candle here on the red side of things. We were down $11,500 roughly in a week. Almost 12% here that we're down so far on the weekly. That's not good. That's not going to bode well for the February numbers for Bitcoin. It's unless we have something happen here majorly in the next 2 days where we're getting a major reversal, we're going to be in the red for February here, it looks like. But there's some good sign here with Bitcoin. The good sign with Bitcoin is the RSI is probably at the lowest level it has been here in a long time. The RSI here finished out at 24.33, way below the 30, so definitely oversold territory on that one. And the last time we were back here, I drew a line to it back here just to kind of show you guys where we are as far as price is concerned. But last time we were back here was back on August 5th, and the RSI at that point was at 26.67. So the RSI is actually lower than we are right now on the daily. Price is much higher than we were back then, so that's a good sign. As long as things hold up here, right around here, we might go dip a little bit more, but it might be in a couple more days, in a week or so, or something like that. We might dip a little bit further down to potentially like the 75, 78,000 mark, okay? I'm still not ruling that out. I think that still might be a possibility here. And the reason I say that is because if you look at the RSI on Bitcoin here on the daily, we definitely got under 30 here. This was, like I said, August 5th. We also got there at this was June 24th as well. Price at that point was actually higher than where it got to here, but we did have kind of a reversal more or less. Went up a little bit over the next couple of days, then fell down, right, with the RSI again going below 30 here on July 5th here, and then we kind of went back up on it. We went back up all the way up to about 69,000 here, and then we had a rough, probably, what was that, a week and a half or so, where things just really went down, and Bitcoin went down to a low of, where is it at? A low of 49,000, right there, and then kind of bounced off of that level there at that point. So there's still that possibility that we might have the same thing happen here where we are like right now here. If you look at the chart here, 1, 2, 3, 4 days roughly, right? We've had 1, 2, 3, 4 days of that. And we're kind of bouncing right now, so we're kind of seeing the same thing maybe play out here. And that's why I'm saying that maybe we might have a little bounce here and then the final drawdown happen again. Maybe. I'm hoping it doesn't happen, but there's a possibility that might happen here if it plays out the same way this time around like it did last time, where we go down actually a little bit lower to it, and then from there we might go up a little bit, come back down, test it, and then finally go up. So what does that mean for us here recently? Well, we got pretty close to the 200 simple day moving average on it. We almost touched it here on this chart at least. We got very, very close to that. That's also a pretty good sign there. If we bounced off of that area, that's acting as support right now. That's a good sign. But if we look at the weekly also, the weekly here historically, looking back here, right, this was back in August 5th. We talked about that part of it, where it actually touched the 50 simple day moving average, or the 50 weekly moving average, I guess would be on it. It touched it here, went up, came back down, tested again, and then went back up here. So that's why I'm saying that we might still actually go down to like the 75, 78,000 mark here, where we do have the CME futures happening here. And that one, and you can also see that on the CME futures thing, right? It also came back down and touched the 50 moving average as well. So, but we have this gap here that's between roughly 77,000 and 80,000 roughly, right? Somewhere right around there. There's the gap, 80,000 and 77, 78,000 roughly, on the higher end of 77,000. In the next couple weeks, or in the next couple days, weeks, the simple moving average for the 50 is going to move up, and that's maybe where we're going to get the bottom in at that point, right? We might go up here a little bit, come back down, knock off this gap here on the CME futures, and then we might go back up here. So be prepared for that. That is still a possibility. That's something that might happen here going forward. If it doesn't, I'm happy if it doesn't, right? And we continue to go back up here and get to 120,000, 150,000 Bitcoin from a nice bounce here, because when we did bottom out here, from here, right? When we bottomed out, we had a nice rally here from here all the way up top to here. We had 121%. So if that happens again and we bottom out here and have 120% gains on Bitcoin, let's just say we have 100% gains at that point. I can't even go up that high, but let me see if we can squeeze this a little bit more. 100% gains would put us to, that's still 90%. Gosh, definitely have to go up higher. Okay, that would put us roughly at about 150,000 at that point, right? If we have 120% gains, we're looking at roughly, what is that going to be, 165, 170,000, something like that for it. So I'm okay with this if it plays out that way. And I am trying to get some more cash, possibly on the sidelines here, to buy more if we dip even further on it. So something to be mindful of. Like I said, it might play out that way, it might not, but just be prepared for it if it does happen, more or less. The other part of it, right, that would be like a 30% correction like we talked about before as well. And that kind of plays out with what we've had in the prior cycles as well, right? 30% plus drawdowns in Bitcoin during a rally in a bull run. So that is nothing unusual there. It's part of, I don't know if it's part of the mechanism there. I doubt it's part of the mechanism, but it's part of the way people trade. There's a lot of liquidity in the system. People get long on it, and then, well, you got to take out the longs a little bit. Cut them at the kneecaps, take them out to then go up further into the next couple months. So that's kind of where I see things right now. I'm hoping that we bottomed out, but I'm not 100% sure yet. We might, like I said, go up a little bit and then come back down and fill out this gap here on it. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out to you guys on that one. Let's make this back to automatic here. And then how did the miners do today and everything else? Well, MicroStrategy was up today, which was good. They were up 5%, a little bounce here on them for them. Bitfarms was flat basically on the day. BitTier was up a little bit today, 10.69%. Actually, I think it was up the most here out of the miners. So definitely cut a little bit of a bounce from yesterday's drawdown on it. Cypher was up also a little bit, 1.83%. Cleanspark was down another 3.31% on that one. CORZ was up 2.66%. It was up after hours as well, around 10, 12%. I don't know where it's at right now. Hive was down 5%. Hut 8 was down up a little bit, 0.47. IREN was down 3.3. Mara was up just a little bit on the day, 0.28, and I think it was up in the after hours like 8, 9%, something like that. Riot was down 4%. Wolf was up 1%. Smaller miners were more mixed here. Digihost was back up 8.7%. Mawson was up 9.3%. Right, those guys have definitely gotten cremated here recently, so they're catching a little bit of a bounce there. And then the ETFs were up as well today. So Bitcoin being down 5% and some of these guys being up is actually a pretty good sign that we may be getting close to the bottom of Bitcoin bottoming out here. What else do we have here? The Bitcoin dominance went up a little bit here today. It was down from where it was just a couple of days ago at 62, but that's with price coming down on it. What else do we have here? Gosh, NVIDIA provided really good results as well. They beat the estimates, I believe. Today, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, they had earnings here. Surprise, right, up. So they were up a little bit higher. Estimated was 84.5 cents. They were up 89 cents. Revenue was up also 1.23 billion. So they had it good. So maybe that's going to be a nice little catalyst that we have for going up here in the next couple of days. But so far, we are definitely in a downtrend on Bitcoin. Hopefully we're going to catch a little bit of a bounce here before we maybe go a little bit lower and then finally have a bottom in on it. All right, so that's it on Bitcoin. Bitcoin for the month of February here is down 16% right now. So it's looking more like 2014 for us instead of all the other months that we were in the green. Okay. So yeah, we'll see where things end up at, but it was definitely not what I expected, right? We talked about it in January. We were thinking, yeah, February's going to be a great month for us. Historically, it's been in the green. We've only had 2 years where it was in the red. Well, life has some curveballs for you, and it surprises you, and we were down 16% so far. We'll see where it ends up by the end of the month here. We got 2 more days to go. We'll talk about it at that point as well. All right, some good things here. fear and greed index also extremely extreme fear. We're at 10 right now, right? So that's another sign that we might be actually bottoming out here. We shall see where things end up at, but definitely market is correcting, whatever you want to call it. It's doing its thing here. But there's some good news stories here, just two, really. Today, Oklahoma's Strategic Bitcoin Reserve Bill has cleared the Government Oversight Committee and is now headed to the House floor for a vote. We'll see if that passes the vote, but it's just another step forward in the right direction there. And we also have the same thing here for Arizona's bill is passing on to the House. That's the fifth one to make it this far, maybe even the sixth one. So more and more adoption happening here, but we got to get past the House on all these things. So it's another step in the right direction, in my opinion, though. All right, let's get into Core here really quick. Core provided some updates. Oh, I forgot to also... they came out with a news story today. Let me see if I can pull that up as well here. News and events. Let's open up in the new link here as well. I almost forgot to put this in here. There we go. Another announcement here. So let's talk about this here first. Today, CORZ Scientific and CoreWeave announced another $1.2 billion expansion at Denton, Texas site. So this is definitely interesting here. Where is it at? The new agreement brings an additional $1.2 billion in contracted revenue across CORZ Scientific's Denton, Texas location, solidifying CORZ Scientific's position as a premier provider of application-specific data centers for HPC workloads. The 70 megawatt of additional contracted power at Denton site increases the full critical IT load to approximately 260 megawatts there. The agreement increases CoreWeave's total contracted HPC infrastructure with CORZ Scientific to approximately 590 megawatts across 6 sites. That's definitely very, very large there. We believe this addition aligns with CoreWeave's growing need for robust, high-density infrastructure to support NVIDIA GPUs. And I also heard a story that they're looking, CoreWeave is looking to go public, I believe, within like the next, or they're going to file the paperwork maybe to go public within like the next month or something like that. So they are definitely going with that. Let's see, there was something else in here that I read. Here it is. Under the terms of the agreement with CoreWeave with respect to this additional 70 megawatts, CORZ Scientific is responsible for funding $104 million of the additional required capex of $1.5 million per megawatt. With CoreWeave responsible for the additional capex associated with the expansion, the company also retains option for 2 additional 5-year renewal terms. Now, I maybe misheard this, but on their conference call, they talked about this, but I didn't know whether or not it was for all the sites that they have, that they're working on for CoreWeave. If CORZ Scientific is going to be paying basically the build out their 1.5 million per megawatt roughly to, well, build out or to retrofit, or is it just for this particular deal here? If you guys know more on that, let me know in the comments. Definitely would love to hear that because I thought I meant for all of them. So I do have that in the notes here for their conference call. We'll talk about that here in a second here. And then here with its 1.3 gigawatts of contracted power, CORZ Scientific plans to provide a total of approximately 900 megawatts of gross capacity for HPC hosting to support alternative compute workloads based on geographic proximity to major cities and fiber lines. The remaining 400 megawatts of contracted power is currently allocated to support the company's Bitcoin mining business there. So, I mean, that's just fantastic news there. They're increasing that revenue there. So this new agreement will boost total projected revenue to $10.2 billion over 12 years, contracted terms. All right. Nobody else has that right now. Everybody's talking about they have people knocking on their doors, ringing their phones, and spamming their emails about, you know, wanting this site or that site, but nothing has materialized yet except here for really Core. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of deals, if any, the other miners get for HPC later on this year. All right, and how well they will compare to this. But let's get into their revenues here for fiscal year end. So they provided their fourth quarter and fiscal year end for 2024. They incurred a net loss of $265 million due to primarily to a $224.7 million non-cash market-to-market adjustment to warrants and other contingent value right liabilities required by the significant year-over-year increase in our share price. Okay, so that's fine there. Reported operating loss of $39.8 million, a decrease of $43.7 million over the fourth quarter in 2023, and then generated an adjusted EBITDA of $13.3 million, a decrease of $43.4 million over fourth quarter of 2023, and then secured $625 million through a convertible note offering with favorable 0% interest terms. We covered that already in the past. They strengthened their balance sheet, ending the quarter with cash and cash equivalents of $836.2 million, as of December 31st and earned 974 self-mined Bitcoin with an average hash cost to self-mine 1 Bitcoin of 51,000 there. So that's actually pretty good. Operational hash rate right there, about 20.1 exahash, consisting of 19 exahash self-mining and 1 exahash hosting. We talked about that. You guys can read the rest of the stuff here on it as well. I'm not going to go through it all because it's going to take too long here to go through it all, but we're going to just take a look at the numbers that I do have here for Core Scientific. Excuse me. And they still haven't released their full 10K results. Excuse me, filing. Gosh, excuse me, my throat's starting to dry up. Okay, wow, I thought it was going to be better. I had a cough and I thought it was going to be better. Hold on, let me take a sip of water. All right, let's try this, see if that helps at all. So I'm still using the numbers that they had here, the 206 million shares that were in the report that they provided, which was unaudited. So we're still waiting for the audited numbers, which would come out through the 10K filing. So that's not out yet. We'll wait to see what that comes in, and we'll get that updated as well for that. The performance for the last 12 weeks has not been great, right? Like as every other miner hasn't really done great. Looking down here on the quarterly results here, revenue increased to 79.9 million. This is for the self-mining portion of it. It's up from the 68 that they had in Q3. And then this current quarter, we're estimating about 78, depending where Bitcoin actually ends up at by the end of, what is it? It's going to be March. Last 4 quarters operating costs minus depreciation here was 108. So that's definitely gone up here. About almost 9 million or so from Q3. Custom mine 1 Bitcoin minus depreciation, I'm at 54. They're saying 51, so we're pretty close to that. Bitcoin mine quarterly has been coming down. The result of that is because they're not installing any new machines there. They're still running on the older machines. So as network hash rate goes up, they're going to be generating less and less Bitcoin. But the good thing is Bitcoin price is going up, so that can actually make more on it. So that kind of helps out there. Debt to equity, lower is better, right? This is negative 2.9. That's as a result of their weird accounting because of bankruptcy, and then the other shares that they have there, and you guys know what I mean. Current ratio higher is better, right? 6.7, so that's definitely a nice increase there as well. Total current assets 903 million here. Total current liabilities 134. And that's a result of that nice high current ratio there. Going down here, we'll get into some of these metrics here in a second here, but total current assets, nice increase here, 903 million from 277 million. Most of that is in cash. That's a result of the 650 million that they got from the convertible notes. And then total assets now is at 1.6 billion roughly compared to the 921 that they had here prior as well. And then current liabilities only went up to 134 million from 76, so that's not too bad. The big increase here was the accrued expenses and other. That was a big one on that one. Total liabilities and subject to compromise is now at 2.4 billion. Big majority of that was the warrants. There we go. Warrant liabilities, right? 1 billion here. And then convertible and other notes payable net of current portion also went up to 1 billion here. So it's a result of that as well. So total stockholder equity is showing a deficit and all that's 1.5 billion or almost 1.6 billion on it. Revenues here they had from hosting about 6.5, right? That's been coming down quite a bit here over the quarters as they're getting rid of their hosting customers there. Digital asset mining went up to 79.9 like I talked about. Digital asset mining revenue, or HPC, sorry, went actually down to 8.5 million here from 10.3. So I'm a little bit surprised by that, mainly because they really just have one customer, their CoreWeave. Why did that actually go down almost 2 million there? Not sure. So total revenue came in at 94. It is down from Q3, which was 95 million here, down a little bit. But that is a result of the hosting customers dropping there and the drop in a little bit in HPC hosting revenue as well. So that's surprising there. On that one, cost of revenues here, cost of hosting services was 4 million here. So they were in the green on that more or less. Cost of HPC hosting services, 7.7 million, and they only generate 8.5. Okay, so that's not really good profit margins there. Cost of digital asset mining, 78 million as well, compared to 79 million. So that's not good there as well. Total cost of revenue was 90 million, right? They had 94 million. Pretty small profit margins there on that one. So that wasn't good. Going down here, what else do we have here? let's see. Total operating expense was at 43.5. So that's up a little bit from the 40.3 that they had here in Q3. Operating loss income was negative 39 million here, it looks like, for the quarter. And then total non-operating income was 225 million here. And that was the change in fair value of the warrants on contingent fair value or value rights. Wow, excuse me. So loss before income tax was negative 265, income tax 375. So total non-operating income expense was 265, 541, and that it represents a 60 cents loss per share on it. For the quarter, for the year was loss of $4.39, and that was based on 255 million shares, and the quarter was 306. So like I said, I'm waiting on the actual quarterly results as far as what do they actually get. Well, at least where are they now, more or less? That's what we really want to know, is where the share count now. Okay, going back up here, we can see that cost to mine came in at 54 for me, based on the numbers here that they reported. Talked about debt to equity and current ratio. Book value is negative territory. Price to book value is also negative right now. Enterprise value is at 3 billion, and then adjusted EBITDA was negative 264 million on that. General and administrative compensation was 37%, so a little bit of an increase here from the prior quarter, but not too bad. Would definitely love to see that actually go down. I think it will go down as they start getting revenue from their contract with CoreWeave. Okay, so overall not bad, right? It's kind of what we expected more or less to happen here. I was pretty close to where they were with Bitcoin mining revenue, right? They came in at 79.9 million. I had been 79.968. I was off by 0.09%. You know, it's about as close as I can possibly get, except I got here a little bit closer even here. Back on like the first quarter here, off by just 0.01%. So happy with that. Looking at the numbers here for the last 3 quarters and the current quarter that we're in, I'm in between 826 to 1239. Looks like they're kind of fairly valued based on that. But if you look forward to the future revenue here, just on their self-mining and the revenue that they're getting from before even this new contract came into play from CoreWeave going forward, and I think we might need to dial that down a little bit because they did say some things here in the in the conference call that I'm going to talk about as well, which would affect this, I think. But I've been between 1977 and 2996, right, more or less where the analyst estimates are as well. So I do think that they're undervalued currently from where they are. All right, let's get into their conference call and things that I thought were kind of interesting here. So Adam mentioned, not by name, but he mentioned basically Microsoft canceling contracts with other data centers because they embellished the megawatts to the other data centers. So they're saying basically that not all data centers are equal, more or less, and that their data centers are better suited for this types of things. And maybe they are, right? But I think it's also a little hype on themselves, which is fine. And then also Core is now to spend the 1.5 million per megawatt to build out retrofit data centers for CoreWeave. And then they're removing the 50% reduction to CoreWeave as originally agreed upon for the first 2 years. So that's the one that I have a question for you guys, whether or not that is actually for the entire contract that they have there, or is it just for the new one that they got that's been expanded upon? Let's see. Oh, okay, here it is. Build out. Build out is delayed. So the first 250 megawatts for the HPC/AI portion of the business will be by the end of 2025. So that's definitely down from the 570 megawatts or whatever they're targeting here. That's going to be done in 2026, the rest of it. The reasons for it are permitting and delays on equipment, so electrical equipment mostly, and then design work, I guess. Those are the reasons for the delay. So if you recall, well, excuse me, hold on. All right, let's try this again. That's a little bit better. So if you recall, when they got the contracts back in the summer, more or less, basically the summer of 2024, right, last year, they were targeting to get these sites up and running for Core by, like, or at least majority of them by the end of the first half of this year and into the second half of next year, right? I thought at that time that was very optimistic to do that, especially when you're retrofitting and you got to get some of these equipment, you got to get the chillers or the coolers, you got to get the diesel backup generators, things like that. All that stuff's got to be put in. So I thought at that time that was kind of optimistic on their part. And sure enough, right, we're seeing some little blocks or roadblocks in that estimate that they provided us. But that's still okay, right? They're going to get 250 megawatts by the end of the year, this year, and then the rest of that, another roughly, what is it going to be, 200 and some megawatts in 2026, probably the first half, I'm guessing as well. So a lot of that growth is going to be happening basically in the next year for them. But that will reduce the amount of revenue that they're going to get from the contracts to only basically half, and then half of that for the first half, roughly, if they can do that, or depending when they can actually get that built out. So it might not happen until like third quarter, well, I would say probably fourth quarter if they can get that energized by then. So we might only have a couple months of revenue for the full 250 megawatts, or unless they're going to be doing it prorated, more or less, as things get done, they're going to be getting stuff installed there, which could be the case as well. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, see how that's going to play out there. Other than that, I mean, yeah, they just got to execute. I did hear them talk about also their Bitcoin mining part of the business. They are looking to get the block miners in the second half of 2025. So that's still in play, it looks like. They didn't provide any numbers as far as cost or anything like that. I didn't see it in there. That's why I'm waiting on the 10Q or 10K figures to come out. Maybe it might be in there. But that's kind of where we are at. So overall, like I said, still undervalued in my opinion greatly from where they really should be. They just need to continue to, they just need to continue to execute, turn over the sites from Bitcoin mining to HPC for them as quickly as possible. And the other thing that they said, that they are also trying to have core Weave business be only like 50% of their revenue in like by 2028. So it does seem like they're looking for other businesses as well, or other customers to bring it on in there, because they would be quite heavily dependent on core Weave's business there. So you definitely want to split that up a little bit as much as you can. But they are going to be looking for other sites and things like that, so that's good there. And yeah, stock did pretty good after hours. We'll see what it does tomorrow and things like that. So great job by those guys there, and wish them all the very, very best. All right, let's get to Mara here. Mara's a little bit more complex of an issue here. They had actually pretty good results here. I listened to their conference call as well. There's some things that I wanted to share with you guys as well. The only bad thing with Mara is they didn't provide like the full release of the revenue statements and the assets and liabilities part of it. There's a lot of things that are missing, so I don't have that all in my spreadsheet because they kind of split things up. They put part of it in the investor deck for the earnings part, and they only put in here a couple of things. They put in, let's see here, quarterly financial results, Q4 2023, summary, right? So they put in a summary. It's not the full thing. It's unaudited. So there's a couple of things, quite a few things that are actually missing part of that. So that's why I wasn't able to put it into my spreadsheet. Non-GAAP reconciliation here, that's fine. And that's basically it here. Then the other part of the revenues were actually put in here into their investor presentation for 2024, basically. And we have that information there is pretty much full on it. So we have at least that part, but I'm still missing like the assets and the liabilities part of it. So I'm waiting until they provide the actual 10K filing. Once they do that, then I'll be able to put in the numbers and see where they are at. We do have at least maybe the weighted average shares here. I probably should have copied that and put that in for them right now, but it's still not complete. But here's what we do have, right? So they generated 528 million here, it looks like, in the fourth quarter, right? 3 months, yeah, 3 months ended. And then let's see, year ended December 31st, 2024. Total revenues was 651. Okay, revenue here for the total revenue was 214 for the 3 months ended fourth quarter. And then they had a net income attributable to stockholders was 528. That gave them $1.36 in EPS, right, per share. I had higher, if you recall, I had like $3 or something. And I think that's just because I have a flaw in the way I'm calculating the FASB rules and things like that. I need to revamp that going forward, because I was off not only on Cleanspark by about half, and also here for Mara as well by about half, a little bit more than half. So I got to revamp that. That's on me. But I knew there were going to be at least positive EPS on that. The reason they are positive is because of the change in fair value of digital assets, 442 million there for them, right? So we kind of talked about that as well, that they should be positive on the EPS. If you take that out, they would still be more or less positive, 442 roughly. So they'd still be about, what is that, 80 million or so in the positive on things, more or less. Let's see if there's anything. Income tax expense, they had a negative 118. That was added income before tax. Let me see what else is there. Change in fair value of digital assets restricted. So that also helped them. So if we take that out and that out, at that point, I think maybe they would be actually in the red here on it. But we'll run the numbers when they actually report the fiscal year end results there. But net income per share common stock, so basic was $1.36, diluted was $1.24 for the quarter. For the year, it was $1.87 and $1.72 here. So we'll use that number for the shares that are currently outstanding for them. We can kind of look at them, what I have as far as numbers and things like that. We have a 306 here, but let's go down here. Sorry, I'm kind of going over the place here. Let me put that in here. All right, 419. Wow. Q4 306. Where did I get the 306 from? 306. All right, I gotta look into that. Why is that 419? I have 306 in here. I wrote that down for some reason. Why did I write that down? 419 weighted average number should come diluted. 388. That's a lot of dilution here in the quarter there. All right, I gotta dive into that, figure that out as well, what the actual number is. All right, so based on that, I think, what am I looking at here? I'm using the 306. Yeah, I'm using 306 right now as it is. So market cap, if we're going by that, is 3 billion, right? If we use the higher number, it's going to be probably like around 4 billion there at that point. But going down here, yeah, I'm not even going to go into it here because these are all still off for them. Why am I looking at core? Mara, I should be looking at Mara. Duh. You guys didn't point that out to me. I made a mistake there. Okay, so here's Mara. Mara, if you look at the numbers here, 321, and they provided 419. Okay, and that's still a lot. About 100 million shares being added here from Q3. That's a 30% increase in shares there. Okay, so that's a lot. But like I said, I don't have all the information here, right? Some of the stuff is missing, especially down here, that I don't have. And then also like the liabilities side of things is missing. This part's missing that I don't have. Some of the revenues, I think, yeah, I can't do the revenues because they have revenues from mining operations, mining participant, hosting services. That's not broken out, so everything is reported as one. Need that to be broken out. So once that does come in, we'll review them completely here. But the good thing is, thanks to Bitcoin and price appreciation and FSB rules, they were able to get a positive EPS on the stock here. So we'll revisit Mara later on when they do provide it. But here's some of the things that I thought were interesting from their conference call. They want to grow, but they want to grow by being capitally efficient going forward. So they're not just going to grow for the growth's sake. They're going to do things if they see it as, good for the shareholders, capital efficient, things like that. So that's good. They're also trying very, very hard, it seems like, to get as efficient as possible. They said that they are the largest miner, but they're also not the most efficient miner, which I would agree there. So they're working on that, which is good. They believe small inference AI will be the future near metropolitan areas, and that's something that they want to get into as well, I believe. So that's kind of interesting there that they are seeing that. Fred said that, I'm paraphrasing here, that the large language models learning or training is getting to the point now where you don't need as much machines, especially when you're having things open source and things like that. It's now going into like the inference part of things and just fine tuning it more so on that. They believe HPC AI data centers becoming a commodity, right? So they're concerned about that a little bit. That's maybe why they don't want to do anything major. He also said that the hyperscalers are looking for sites that are 500 megawatts plus as well. That's kind of interesting to hear that. And they want to depend less on Chinese ASIC manufacturers and more on their Auradine partnership that they have there. And that is a result that Auradine can build basically ASICs to fit their needs and fit their two-pick immersions and things like that. So I thought it was kind of interesting there as well, that they want to build those in the United States. They're also looking to be like 50% business side things in the United States and 50% outside the United States, international. Going forward, they're looking to partner with like electricity producers, not be a customer of theirs, but partner with them on like joint ventures and things like that. I thought it was kind of interesting there, different approach there. And they're looking to buy some maybe energy sites or energy infrastructure that they can then use to have as close to zero cost of operating for Bitcoin mining as possible, potentially. So that's kind of what I got out of it. But unfortunately, like I said, I don't have all the data for them that I could throw in there because for whatever reason they didn't provide all of that stuff on them. So that is it. I know the stock was up in the after hours and everything else, so that was actually good there. So investors were happy with that. Yeah, and $1.24, $1.36 EPS is definitely a lot better than being negative. So, but it is thanks to Bitcoin going up and the revaluation of Bitcoin on the balance sheet through FASB rules. Okay. I think we covered everything that I wanted to cover. So I will get these spreadsheets out to you guys tomorrow. Like I said, tomorrow's a work in progress here. I need more data from them. IREN, CORZ Scientific is up to date, so you guys will have that information. And then we're missing a couple more miners to report, and I think we'll be done possibly sometime next week. I think we'll be done with all the quarterly results, and then we can look into other things as well. So that is it. My little sales pitch here. If you want to get access to all my spreadsheets, all the data, all the charts, everything else that I have, access is through Patreon. Link is down in the description. It's $8 a month. I think it's a pretty good deal. And then you might be able to find a couple spots at $5 and $4, which are even a better deal that you can get in on those. I spend the time so you guys don't have to, basically. All right, but that's it. That's my sales pitch. Let's get into Q&A side of things here. See what you guys have to say on all this stuff. Any questions you guys have. And as always, if you could preface the questions with a question mark, I'm going to work my way up on the comments that have been going on here for a while. And I'm going to look for some questions and we'll work our way down. So be patient. I will get to all your questions eventually. Let me see here. All right, I saw a question here happening down here. There it is. Okay, Mortem has a question. So chart monkeys are talking about Cleanspark having invalidated key levels and plan to sell on the next bounce. I don't believe in invalidation as a method. What do you think? I heard it also. There have been a couple of people that have talked about that as well. I saw it today. I actually watched the video of one of the guys today as well. Let's get into the chart here. So they're talking about an invalidation here on Cleanspark because it fell below this number here, more or less, right? This line, around 8, something like that. I mean, we're kind of close. I don't think so. I don't know. I don't take too much into the invalidation of things. They've gotten beaten down. Bitcoin's been coming down as well. They had good EPS numbers as well. They're continuing to grow at 50 exahash, beyond that as well, potentially. The only thing is we need Bitcoin to go up. Right? They shouldn't be diluting anymore this year. Bitcoin goes up to where, first we need it to bottom out. Once Bitcoin bottoms out, then we start going up. Later on this year, I think we still might get to like 150, 180,000, maybe even 200,000. Some are saying we could go up to like 300,000, 400,000. I'm like, well, that'd be great if it happens this year, but I don't know if that's going to happen. So they will definitely join the party here and they will go up, right? But some are thinking that we could, go back up to like $14, and at that point they're going to be selling. Well, okay, you could sell at that point. May not be a bad idea to take profits if you're in profit, but leave it maybe a little bit on the counter there to let it run up. So we'll see. I'm not going to say what I'm going to do. I'm still looking at dollar cost averaging a little bit more while the price is low here. So I'm still trying to, scrounge up some cash to do that. But I don't know. I just don't see it here. I think they're still going to go up here. I mean, $24 was definitely a really good price for them. And it's taken a long time for this thing to come down. It came down here to this level. It's pretty close to that as well, below that as well. So I think we can bounce off of here as long as Bitcoin bounces here relatively quickly here. But we'll see. Okay, so that's that one. Let's get back here. All right. So are you selling any IREN or Cleanspark? I am not. I'm actually looking to buy. I bought some, when did I buy some? Monday. I bought some more Cleanspark and IREN as well. So I'm looking to buy. Okay, Gary says, all-in cost to mine a coin amongst the top 4 miners in Q4. IREN was 66.9, Cleanspark 88, Riot 114, more 134. That's, you're including share-based, maybe you're not including share-based compensation, but I think you might be including depreciation there as well. So yeah. Okay, Benny says, I am selling Cleanspark next bounce. Chart is way too ugly. Okay. Question here. Crypto Fear and Greed Index on daily looks like a good entry point in TradingView. Do you think this index is any good? You're talking about, let me see here. Are you talking about, let me take a look. Financials. is that just the overall fear and greed? Where are you seeing the fear and greed on it? I usually don't go by that one. There's a couple other ones that you can use that are probably maybe better, but I haven't used the one on TradingView, so I'm not sure how good that one is. But if it's like in fear right now mode, then yeah, I would say that's probably correct, actually. Okay. Gefler says tariff delay reversal. Yeah, I mean, tariffs are definitely having a impact on the stock market in general. All right, let's see. Question: IREN and Cleanspark are in close race to the bottom year to date. Which would you buy more of this week? I bought both. So I own both, so I bought more of them while they were coming down. And I might actually pick up some more here either tomorrow or Friday, depending if we get a dip tomorrow or Friday. Okay. Hey, Seb, did you get a chance to look at BitDeer's reported loss? Yes, I looked into it, and it does actually state it. I probably should pull this up here. It states it in the numbers here. Bear with me while I pull this up. I saw it here someplace. Bitdeer.com. Bear with me while I pull that up here. Where's the investors? Investors relations. Probably just should have went to the numbers here. United Financial Fourth. Okay. It was in here someplace that I saw it. Where is it at? Where did I see it? Bear with me. Here, this is what I'm looking at right now, so you guys can see. I saw it in here someplace, and also one of you guys mentioned it on the stream yesterday that it was for revenue, cloud hash rate, general hosting, cost of revenue, some operating expenses, research and development, other net losses. Okay, here it is, right there. So other net loss in Q4 2024 recorded US $479.8 million. Other net loss primarily due to the non-cash expense of fair value changes of derivative liabilities, which are the $413.7 million of loss on fair value changes for the convertible notes issued in August and November, and the US $55.8 million loss on fair value change of the Tether warrants. So that's the reason why. That's why we saw a big loss. That's why they had a loss of 539 or 531.9 million, right? So that's the result, excuse me, of that. So that is covered. We know why that happened. So it's basically a record keeping or accounting thing. Okay. Right. Back to here. Okay. Did you buy it today, Seb? I did not buy because I gotta. It was too close. I bought Monday. I need to save a little cash here to buy some more. I don't have like thousands of dollars just laying on the side here. I need to figure things out, you know, maybe pay a little less on something else instead of paying it down and be able to do this. All right, let's see. Question: Mara increased Q4 2023 versus 2024 stock-based compensation from 18.7 million to 54 million. Any idea why this tripled from last year? For the full year, I have no idea. Probably because of performance-based metrics, right? So they got to the 50 exahash, whatever it is, and that kind of probably triggered things for them to get rewards as well. I'm guessing it was because of that. Let's see. Ronaldo says, CORZ is the real deal. All the others are pretenders. Emails are in being contacted. Well, yeah. I mean, right now, I could say, yeah, you could definitely say that they're kind of pretenders until they actually get something there. Okay, let's see. Next Friday's jobs report. Expect a lot more volatility next week in the data-sensitive market. Possibly, yeah. Okay. Looking for another question here. All right. So you think it is close to bottom yet? Then IREN and Cleanspark are able to achieve 40 still. Bitcoin goes up to like 200,000. I think that's still possible for these guys here. Right? It'd be that'd be basically a 4x for these guys, right? Roughly. But Bitcoin would have to go like to 200, 250,000, something like that. I think it's still possible if that happens, unless, you know, something else happens here. But yeah, I do think that we're close to a bottom potentially. We might have a little spike here in price on Bitcoin. Then we might actually come back down and actually get down to like the 78,000 mark. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. But I would definitely love it to be the end of this bottoming out here. Hey Seb, QS, if Trump's tariffs start, trade war begins, bad economic reports, prices go up, and market drops over 20%, what will be BTC's value? 60K DCing is a bad idea till correction happens mid-March. Yeah, that's why I don't know if 60,000, I don't think we would go down that far. 60,000 on Bitcoin. I mean, I'm not saying it can happen, but I don't think it will. I could be wrong on that though. Historically, Bitcoin has corrected like 30 some. Well, let's take a look at it. I mean, we've had corrections of 34, 35% on Bitcoin in the past as well. So let's take a look at that. Where would that actually take us down to if we correct down that far? So would 60,000 be in play at that point? So from the top, 109,000, 35 would be about 70,000, 60,000 at that point would be a 45. At that point, you're going in a bear market on Bitcoin. So I don't see that. We could see maybe like the 70,000 at the very least, like a wick down to it. But that's kind of where I would think. Now, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know where things are going to go. Nobody really knows. The only thing we can do is watch on the sidelines, see where things end up at, right? Try to protect our value as much as we can if that happens. All right, going back here. Okay, let me see. Okay, I'm starting to doubt that miners will ever be viewed like a proxy trade they were in 2021 cycle. I think we need to adjust expectations. There is so many more ways to play BTC now. There is, yeah. But the miners, I mean, except for this past week, if you take this past week, they have done actually pretty good. At least some miners have from the bottom. And we'll just see where they end up here at the end of the cycle. And it might be different. Yeah, time will tell. Let's see here. Hey, Seb, long-time viewer, first-time caller. Well, thanks for coming in. I just became a Mara bag holder this week because the stock was so cheap. Face purple white eyes, but I have much more Cleanspark and IREN. Let's go mining stocks. Awesome, nice. Yeah, they're definitely way down from where they really should be. Let's see. Nick Lee thinks Mara's going to explode tomorrow. They might. Bitcoin goes up. They definitely might have a nice pump here. Right, let's see what else we got here as far as questions. Sorry, I'm trying to read through the comments as always and see if I can find a question here. Let's see. B82 says, as long as the miners are mining at a cost or loss, they are not a good proxy. The large hodl and Mara is close by ETF. Okay. All right, here's a question. Mara mentioned an ATM approval during earnings call. Do we know how much it is and when they are planning to use it? They've been using it already. I mean, based on what we just saw here, they had a lot of dilution here in the last quarter. So they've been using it. They probably might be using it also now because they're holding everything that they mine, basically. So how do you fund operations? You got to dilute to do that. So that's always going to be a case. Let's see, rumors that the USA going into a recession or already in one and buy certain like HLF, which pay off 250 million of debt with earnings almost double. I don't think the US is in recession yet. We've heard stories like that before as well. Never materialized. We need, what do we need? Was it 2 quarters of negative GDP numbers, right? Okay, Tata says buy the dip until there is no money. This is the strategy. Okay, let's see. Maybe Mara actually plans on being around for 30 plus years. It sounds like it. All right, is it a bear market for miners? Well, it's a correction for the miners and for Bitcoin, I think. I don't think it's a bear market yet in Bitcoin. Can Bitfarms get delisted if it goes under $1? What are the rules on that? Thanks in advance. They would get a notice from NASDAQ that they are not in compliance with their rules, and the rules you have to be at $1. And they have 180 days, I believe, to remedy that. So, one, the stock could go up in price. They could buy back shares, or they could do a reverse split to get into compliance. So there's a couple ways that they can still stay in there on the NASDAQ. I don't see them getting delisted from that. Do you see IREN and Cleanspark at 20 this year? As long as Bitcoin goes to like 200,000, yeah, I would say. I couldn't imagine why it wouldn't happen. I mean, but you never know. If they're continuing to get shorted and manipulated like they are right now, I mean, you just never know. At least not this cycle. This cycle is completely different from what we had in the past. Let's see. Will Bitfarms report positive numbers? No, I think they're going to have a negative EPS. All right. Are you holding SEB Cleanspark even if it goes to $1 USD? No, if it goes to, no. My average is like $5.60 something, I think, on that one. So I'm still in the green. It's definitely a lot lower than what it's been, but I dollar cost averaging some more this past week. I'll dollar cost averaging some more as well later on, hopefully by the end of this week as well. So yeah, I don't think it's going down to $1. Maybe idea is still to sell when in profits. Yeah, I'm not still in profit. I don't believe that the cycle's over yet. That's why I'm buying more, right? See, Andre says, I'm in so much pain. I've lost so much of the money in the last few weeks. I worked so hard at gaining it at last 2.5 years. Now it's wrecked. Gone with the wind. Feels like we got bamboozled. I completely understand. And yeah, it's tough. Looking at my numbers that I have in my spreadsheet for what I have in my profit sharing plan, which I have a lot in the ETF miners, right? Or yeah, ETF miners. And then just what I have here with Bitcoin and the miners themselves, I'm down like 300 some odd thousand, 300, almost $400,000 in the last couple of weeks. So it has not been great. Let's see. Some influencers are calling for 47,000 now. Insane, but send it if they can. I keep buying miners. Awesome. And all right. Let's see. It's kind of stupid to hold when all the profits vanish soon, isn't it? If it happens, it happens, right? I'm still in the green. I don't believe the cycle's over, and that's the reason why. Could I be wrong? Yeah, I could absolutely be wrong. So don't do what I do. That's one thing. That's why I say not financial advice, entertainment only. Do your own research. All right. Why is there so many bad sentiment for Bitcoin miners? They're the only player in the industry to help big institutional players to buy more Bitcoin. Well, that, and also you got institutions continuing to buy into them. So you have to look at both sides of it. Okay, let's see. Admara cost to mine. Why do they continue to bother mining? Well, they're hodling Bitcoin. That's why. So if you can hodl it, right? So if your cost is kind of high, but you hodl it, and Bitcoin price goes up in value, you're making up on that. So there's different ways to play it. Let's see. Hi, Seb, did you take profits since you first bought these miners when they got near the top? Thanks. I took profits on Core, right? I was up 100% on Core, so I took profits in that. Moved it into the miners because I thought the miners were actually going to do better. Okay, did that, and then I also took some profits on Bitfarms when I sold it and bought into more Cleanspark and IREN. So I sold 2/3 of my position in Bitfarms here over the last 2 to 3 months. So I have taken profits, but I've been putting into the miners again. All right. Question. What question do you think the chat never asks enough but should ask? Oh, damn. Oh, gosh. So many questions I get. Which one do they not ask enough of? I don't know. That's a tough question there as far as what should they be actually maybe looking at as far as cycle tops, bottoms, things like that. Maybe something like that. I don't know. Okay. B82 has a question here. Will any miners buy the dip in the BTC since for many it's currently cheaper than it is to mine? Mara might do it. Riot might do it. Those are the only two that I've been buying here recently. I think Hot 8 has also bought in the past. But that's the only ones I would think that would maybe buy. All right. Seb, your price targets keep dropping. You were saying 60, 70 and IREN at 200,000 now, 30 to 40. You're losing faith. I'm saying, right, so I don't want to be like the moon guy here all the time. That's kind of what I thought before we had this kind of, I don't know what I like to call it, manipulation with the miners. Didn't expect that. So I think that drove things down and didn't let them run like they would normally. But I'm just saying that's like the low end to like middle end of where they could possibly go. If you get FOMO in this space, they could go higher, right? So I just don't want to be continuing. Maybe I'm taking you guys' input as well, right? So if you guys are saying that I'm pumping or something like that, I'm trying to maybe bring it down a little bit, maybe not pump as much, but I'm still pretty bullish on the miners. Okay, I'm trying to find another question here. You guys have a lot of comments between yourselves and definitely getting into a little heated conversations there. All right, here we go. Brian has a question here. I don't understand why everybody is selling. I am buying as much as I can of Digital and Cleanspark at these prices. Business are fine. Stock prices just suck if you bought them a lot higher. I would agree with you there, right? That's why I'm also buying. Okay. Do you see a merger between BTC miners in the future? If we have another bear cycle, maybe some of the bigger guys might take over some of the smaller miners that are only like 2 exahash, 3, 5 exahash, something like that. Maybe that might happen. We thought we were going to see a lot more of that this year than we did. We had Riot buy out Block. Cleanspark bought out, gosh, I'm drawing a blank in the name on it. They bought out somebody, right? But definitely much smaller. And then Bitfarms is buying out Stronghold. Riot tried to buy out Bitfarms, but that didn't go so well. But there was just not as much buyouts as I thought there was going to be, or at least people thought there would be. I didn't think there was going to be because it doesn't make really much sense. If you can build out and grow or buy sites instead of buying public miners where you have to pay a premium on that, you're better off doing it yourself. Okay. Andrea says ETFs were selling off today. HODL means hold on for dear life. For a reason, the thesis for the Bitcoin has not changed. Seb, what is your opinion? Am I being overly optimistic? Well, the thesis for Bitcoin has not changed, right? It's still a scarce asset. It's going to get more scarce over time, less supply and all that stuff. So that hasn't really changed here. More adoption is happening here faster than in the past as well. So those are all good things here. Did we have maybe too much leverage in Bitcoin and too many people going long on it? Yeah, and we have a correction happening right now. We saw that last year as well. So that's not anything new. It's just the miners. The miners have not done anywhere what we thought they were going to do. So what's going on with the miners? The miners are definitely not doing what we thought they were going to be. At least what I thought they were going to do on it. So, but the thesis for Bitcoin is still the same. Okay, let's see here. If Bitfarms doesn't get their act together, Riot should snag them in a bear market. Possibly. But then they also are buying Stronghold, so that kind of makes them a little bit bigger, makes it a little tougher. Plus, Riot is looking to get into more HPC AI business. So I don't see that happening as well. All right. I said, question, if BTC goes down to 70, will it more than likely crash lower if market deteriorates, worried due to Trump's scare? If it goes down to 70,000, I think we're going to be okay, as long as it holds there. I think if it holds 70,000, we'll be okay. If it falls below that, then yeah, I mean, there's not much else we can do for it. And then we might be getting into a bear market with Bitcoin at that point. I think Trump's tariffs things and things like that are just scare tactics to get countries to do what he wants them to do, right? Mexico, it's to shore up their borders on their side more. Stop the fentanyl, do something with the cartels there. For Canada, it's also, I think, to secure the border a little bit there, and I don't know what else he wants from Canada. I think he uses it as a trade imbalance there. For the European countries, I think for that, it's just so that they spend more on NATO as far as their own defense is concerned, and then for them to buy more from the United States, things like that. So he's trying. He's working the art of the deal there with them. We'll see what comes of it. Pitt says, Cleanspark looks so attractive at this price. Unfortunately, out of money. My car is up for sale. Okay. Well, I hope you're kidding there. Okay, let's see. What else we got? Okay. Question of Bitcoin. I talked about that one already. Territories, especially when economic slowdown begins. Yeah, I talked about that. We'll see. Let's see. Okay. Going back to why does Mara mine at a loss? To hodl, they must dilute. So why no dilute and buy BTC until the price is up and mining is profitable? Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. But like I said, I think it's because they view Bitcoin going up in value. They can mine it at a lower cost still. But when you include the other costs, depreciation, share-based compensation, right? On a cash basis, are they profitable at least? Yes. When you include share-based compensation and depreciation, then things look a little different. So you got to take that into consideration as well. All right. Hi, so what is your plan on Cleanspark, Mara, and IREN? Would you sell if they get to a target price, or will you hold for some time? The original goal was to start slowly cost averaging out of the miners when Bitcoin got 200,000, right? But the miners did not react to Bitcoin going up to 200,000 at all. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's because of the short position that's on the miners and all the manipulation happening there. I'm like, all right, give it time. Maybe if Bitcoin goes up to 250,000, something like that, maybe then the miners will react because they're definitely going to be generating a heck of a lot more revenue. So current plan is Bitcoin gets to 150,000. I'm going to start slowly to dollar cost average out of these miners, depending where they are at. If they're going up or if they're not going up, I may, continue to sell out of those guys. So we'll see. But that's kind of the current plan right now. Does Cleanspark have their own power plant? No, they do not. All right. Let's say, didn't pop up. Wait, didn't pop up. There it is. Let's say 2 months ago you had 50,000 profit. Now you have 0, and soon you will be in red. Maybe it was smart to sell. But yeah, if you're in profit and you want to do that, that's absolutely. There's different ways you can do it. There's traders, and then there's investors. I consider myself more of an investor for a longer time frame. And then also, what would have happened if, right? It's also hindsight. You're looking backwards and you can see what kind of happened. But if you sell back then, miners went to wherever they went, you were up 50,000, and let's say the miners go up another 50%, 100% from there, right? Are you kicking yourself in the butt at that point possibly as well? Yeah. So it goes both ways a little bit. All right. Let's see. Seb, I think a significant change in the potential share price targets versus BTC is the dilution. That also plays into it, yes. Go back to when you first started price targets and compared based on market cap. Even today, miners are up, market cap wise. Yeah. Yes, that definitely played into it. But that I also thought that their growth and hash rate would offset that. But it doesn't seem like that's the case, at least not right now. We'll see when Bitcoin goes to 150,000, 200,000, whatever it might be. All right, let's see. Question, did you notice when the Mag 7 reports great earnings like NVIDIA, stock goes down? Maybe not sure what you meant there. But I've seen that with some of them, yeah. Sorry, what else? Pit, thank you so much. Hit the like button, everyone. But appreciate the question here. I disagree with you on the tariffs. It's why BTC is not above 100,000. Uncertainty is bad for the market, and we're now siding with Russia. Well, yeah, I've said that before as well. Uncertainty in the market with tariffs is not, but again, I think this is, and it's going to be, hopefully it's going to be short term, right? So the tariffs, whole thing that Trump is doing, I think it is a negotiating tactic or to get concessions from the other countries, things like that. I think that's what he's doing it for. But we will see, right? It's definitely not a good thing when there's uncertainty in the markets, and that's kind of where we are right now. I'm also not for the way that they're dealing with Russia right now. They're kind of appeasing to Russia, which I don't understand. I'm more of like, I want them to be like the Reagan Republicans in the past, right? Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall, right? Tough on Russia, not kowtowing to him a little bit. I don't know what the heck's going on there. I don't know if that's also a negotiating tactic or something. I have no idea what's going on there with them. Even some of the people that are in the Republican Party right now, they're like butting up to Russia. It's like, what? You guys have lost your mind there a little bit. So there's some things I like, some things I don't like. There's some things I like with the Democratic Party as well, and some things I don't like, right? It's tough to be just associated with one party. I should be like an independent or something like that. But I've always been a Republican. All right, I think I've caught up to all you guys' questions here. I think, yeah, I got them all. So we shall see. Bitcoin is up 0.75%. We'll see how tomorrow plays out for us. But yeah, it hasn't been great for us. This past week has definitely been brutal for us. We shall see where we end up at on it. So hoping that tomorrow's going to be at least a little bit of a green day. I'm pretty sure we're going to end up February in the red. Not going to be a green month for us. B82 has another question here. From my limited analysis, the hash rate growth for most miners is minimal on a share of total percentage since almost all are adding hash. Okay. Yeah. So we will see. We will see. Tomorrow, I think, who's reporting tomorrow? There's somebody else reporting. Is it tomorrow or Friday? Their quarterly results. We'll cover that if that happens. Anything else as well. But other than that, I wish you guys a great night. Thank you so much for coming in as always. Thank you for participating in the comments and the questions and all that. Definitely love you all. I hope you guys, take care. Stay peaceful out there. Be patient. Tomorrow's another day. I'll see you guys tomorrow.